plodded around for years in metal bands, going to lots of rehearsals all the time and not doing many gigs that paid any money. And I guess in the mid to early 80s, I decided my old man's over there making money, and I was up on a roof, roofing, to make ends meet, because I was in the metal band and I only practiced, right? I always had practice.
Yeah.
And never really played any gigs that made any money. And I'm thinking, man, I'm working, I'm sweating my butt off, and I'm looking over at the skyline of the city, and I said, man, my daddy's over there making money, man. Playing music.
Yeah.
I can play bass, you know. So after that, I just decided, I'm gonna go start playing bass, man. I'm gonna start playing upright bass and trying to get some gigs. And my old man helped me to get a few gigs, and you know, and then it took about maybe 4 or 5 years to like get a real repertoire in my head of songs.
Okay.
Most people don't, and even me at the time, I was like, how does he know all of those songs? I can't, there was no way I can remember. But you know, you keep doing it in repetition, you finally get to where you got a repertoire of 200, 300, 400 songs.
Wow. Yeah.
In your head, you know, that you could just play if somebody calls it.
So starting off in music yourself was metal in the 80s, or had you started playing before that, like with school bands?
Yeah, I had played in school band. I was second chair cornet.
Okay.
And at McMain High School in New Orleans, McMain Magnet, in like 78, 79. And then from there, I wound up in Chalmette High, and in 1981. And my dad knew the band director, and he brought me in with and the band director says, "What's he play?" And my dad said, "He plays cornet." And the guy goes, "I got 100 trumpet players." My old man says, "Well, what do you need?" He says, "I need a bass player for the jazz band." And he plays bass.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh?
Right.
That started my career on
quick transition. So it was strictly necessity.
It was strictly necessity.
Between the roof and the gig.
Yeah. Well, I started in jazz band in school, and then when I got out of school, I was more still a heavy, because we had to go through the heavy metal period, right? But I was still in the jazz band in school. Okay. And I kind of learned to read music and play jazz tunes, but I didn't take it serious after about 4 or 5 years. I was into the metal thing. Yeah. You know.
And has it always been something that you did, music in general? Has it always been something that you did for no good reason, so to speak, no particular reason? Like you just do it because you want to?
Yeah, exactly. I never really thought that I would be like my pop and my uncle, making a living at it. I was always under the impression, well, you know, I got to go to trade school, AC, or go to college. I never really went to college. I did a year at Delgado in music. I was all-state band in '84, and I got a scholarship. I got a scholarship to go to a couple different places, San Diego or Chicago, and I had a girlfriend right at the time, and I didn't want to leave.
Of course.
And so I paid and I went and I took my scholarship and I went to Delgado. Yoga do you, as we call it. Right. And I did a year of music there. Yeah. And then I dropped out and I went to work. Right? Yeah. Like everybody, you need to make money. I need some money now. I got to go do this, wash dishes, whatever it was. You know, roofing, that kind of stuff. Whenever came up, you took the job, you know.
But you never, ever once put down an instrument. Like you still...
Oh, I was still playing.
You played no matter what.
Yeah, exactly. I was still playing. I was mostly practicing. You know, we would do a lot of practices and, not many gigs. Yeah.
There's something, though, I spoke to another musician once, and his family was... musically inclined, his father was performing, and so were his brothers, his uncles, and so he got to see that coming up. And I feel like for a lot of kids, musicians are somebody that you see on stage or hear on the radio or see on TV. They're not they're not registered in the minds of children as I could be one of those. It's like these are semi-stars or something. It's not attainable by us. So growing up in a family where you have musicians, it makes it possible in your mind, you know?
So many musicians in my family. My cousins were musicians. My dad, my uncle, my second cousins were in the business. It kind of almost turned me off to wanting to be a musician. I almost was at that rebellious part of like, nah, everybody in my family's a musician. I don't know if I want to do that.
Yeah.
And so it led me into doing other things, jobs, and and eventually, I told you I was on the roof. Well, I didn't tell you I fell off that roof.
Oh,
I fell off the roof one time, and then when I was on the ground, I was just laying there going, man, I can play bass, man.
You're gonna fall off the bass, huh?
And why am I doing this? And then that led me into like, okay, well, already, I had the natural ability to. It's already in my blood to do this. You can't fight it, because I tried to fight it for years. I was like, no, my old man's like, you're going to do this, and I'm going to send you to these lessons. And I was like, no, man, I'm not doing that. I'm going to be a football player or whatever,
Yeah, right. Do your own thing.
And turns out my dad was right.
Yeah.
So.
Was it the gig that he had got you that was for upright bass or electric bass?
Yeah, it was on upright bass. That was my first time playing upright. Oh, God, that was painful. Because I was an electric bass player and I didn't have the chops.
No chops, no frets, no chord.
It's a different animal, too.
Sure.
It is bass, but you got to know intonation. You got to have intonation because there's no frets.
Right.
So there's nothing to guide you. There's no dots.
Yeah.
So you develop, it takes a little while, but after about maybe 4 or 5 months of me doing it, I finally got to where I knew my intonation, where everything should be, and you can hear it. I could hear if I was out of tune or.
Okay, I
understand. And the cool thing about an upright bass is you could slide into the right note. You might hit the wrong, but you could always
fudge it a little bit.
Fudge it a little bit.
Yeah, I got you.